California. He's visiting his cousin who is actually married to a Korean man. And he's been here for about 6 weeks. He's leaving this week, though, unfortunately. He's done a lot of great things here. So I asked him to share some of his experience here in Korea and what he's done so far.
It's been really cool. I really like it. The people are very warm. I think the people are the best part. The second best part is definitely the food. The food is amazing. You know, I just had, I think it's ojineo, squid.
Oh, ujinga.
Yeah, ne, out in Shokjo. The way they prepared it, it was like a squid sausage. So imagine a sausage stuffed with rice and egg and meat, but the casing of the sausage is a squid. And then they slice it into like thin pieces. So it's actually really delicious. The one part that was a little weird was the head of the squid, like the fin. It was a little bit chewy, so that was interesting. But I mean, overall, it was really delicious. Probably like my first or second favorite dish that I've had in Korea. If you go to Shokjo, definitely check it out.
Did you drive there? Did you take the bus?
I took the bus. The buses here are amazing. They're really comfortable. I mean, it's like flying first class, except you're on a bus, and it's like as cheap as a bus. So that was really cool. And I went out, I was going to see Soraksan. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. That was beautiful. They have a temple there that's 1,000 years old. It's actually over 1,000 years old. And then the just mountain landscape, it's very reminiscent of Yosemite back in California. That's what it reminded me of the most. I actually liked it so much. I even took a little meditation lesson. It was very short. I liked it so much. I'm setting up a temple stay, just a little overnight, nothing too big. I went to the museum, the Hangul Museum, that's under the statue of the creator of Hangul. I'm forgetting his name right now. Sejok Daewon, that's him. So I wrote my name in calligraphy, which I have hanging up in my room. That was pretty fun. They have a great little museum there that's really good as a foreigner. Like, it was such an insight into Korean culture. And they also talk about General Yi, I believe, and how he won this incredible victory over Japan as they were trying to invade the country. He had, I believe, 13 ships versus like something ridiculous, like 50. It was either 50 or 500 Japanese ships. So he just overcame huge odds to win this battle. And so I was really excited to do that. I find that the Korean culture and the American culture have a lot of parallels. One example is I'm from California. Hollywood's in California. It's one of the most prolific artistic places in the world. Korea is one of the most prolific artistic places in Asia. The soaps here are just, they're really popular. The movies are really famous. And of course now Psy is huge everywhere, like even in the United States, like #1 hit on iTunes.
Looks like he got a good lesson here in Korea. First off, I think he was talking about ojingo sundae in Sokcho, which I love too. It's stuffed squid. And actually, I have seen this in other countries too. But the stuffing is just a little bit different, maybe more vegetables or different variations. But I've seen this at a Bulgarian restaurant. I've seen it at another one. I didn't want to say German, but maybe it wasn't Germany. But I've seen it in 2 or 3 different places where they stuff it with, kind of what looks like fried rice. Well, the other place I saw it, as I said, I can't remember what country it was, but they stuffed it with different seafood. And vegetables, which were, I think, maybe sauteed, and they stuck it in the oven. Great stuff. All right, so this is a really good treat, and it's hard to find anywhere else except if you go in this area. So he got himself a good treat. He also talked about Soraksan.
That's right, Sorak Mountain. And you know what I really found, what he said that really amazed me is the bus ride. Because I'm so used to taking buses here, like the express buses to, to Sokcho area, to other places. I never thought that the buses were like really that amazing. But then he said that it was like really clean and really, really, really nice.
Right.
And so that got me thinking, now that when I look back, when I was taking buses when I took buses back in the States, the buses here, the ones that we have, they are really
especially
a lot
the
more
nicer
clean.
new ones.
And you know the new ones, the one that I took when I went to Yangyang last time, they actually had TVs, like the small screen TVs,
Individual
TVs,
right,
at each seating. So that was really nice too.
Yeah, I love them. I like the ones with the bathroom on the buses. What do we ever do without those?
Yeah.
But anyways, it's not just the ones in the highways that go far away, but here in the city too. To have public buses that are this clean and efficient is a rarity.
Yeah, that's true. And so he visited Sorak Mountain as well. He really, really loved temples there. And also Sokcho area, he said it was just absolutely gorgeous. And you know, he's done so many things here within such a short time. So I had to ask him this question also: what amazed or surprised you the most here in Korea? His top 3 picks.
Well, number 1 would definitely be Hwaseong Fortress. I didn't realize it, but where I'm staying near Suwon Station is actually walking distance to this UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is, it's beautiful. So I go there just about every day. Like, I'll take, a half an hour or an hour and just go walk the fortress because I love it. It's so special, and it's like right at my doorstep. So that's definitely number 1. I think number 2 was discovering Dobongsan. I hiked up the mountain, and that was really special. For one thing, one of the big surprises was that I thought it was just going to be a hike. So I was wearing jeans. I had some shoes on that weren't really appropriate, and I get up towards the top of the mountain, and it's steep rock, and they have these like cables in the rock, and you have to like climb up these cables like hand over hand. It's like right in between hiking and rock climbing. It's not that difficult, and also I'm pretty experienced. Like, I've done a lot of hiking and climbing back home. So for me, it was just a really pleasant surprise. But if a listener out there is going to go hike Dobongsan, definitely bring some gloves and wear some high quality shoes. Bring water, bring a snack, and you'll be fine.
How long did it take you to get to the peak?
I stopped to look at the view quite a bit. So I think with that, maybe 2.5 hours. The round trip was like maybe 5 hours, something like that.
What would you say the major differences between the mountains in the States, mountains in Korea, hiking and all that? What would be the major difference?
In California, the scale is much bigger. So the space is bigger. The mountains are taller. You have to cover more distance generally. So it's kind of nice to come here and have a little more like bite-sized mountain experiences. And it's also, they're much more accessible here. So like Dobongsan, that's a subway stop. Like, we could hop on the subway right now and go get off at Dobongsan and hike the mountain and get back on. Like, we wouldn't even need to drive. In California, you have to drive like hours to get to any kind of mountain, at least from where I live. You know, the way that you eat in restaurants actually was quite a surprise to me. I had only been to one Korean restaurant in my whole life before coming here, so I was a little worried I wasn't going to like the food, but the food is just fantastic. Specifically, what I'm thinking of, though, is the stove in the center of the table, and how, like, they'll bring out some galbi, let's say, which is the specialty of Suwon, and you cook it yourself. You know, you put it on the grill, and you take some scissors. That's another really cool thing. We don't use scissors that much for food at home, which is silly because it's perfect. So, you know, they bring out some scissors with your galbi, and you cut it into little like bite-sized pieces, and you cook it yourself. So it's right off the grill. It's hot, cooked by the best chef in the world. You.
By yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I'm really tall. For the listeners out there, I'm 6'5", so sitting cross-legged, like, my femurs hit the edge of the table and I can't get close enough to my food. So that's a little bit challenging for me. I prefer actually the chair just because of the like length of my femur. That's the big like caveman bone in my upper leg. So yeah, I definitely prefer the like chair seating, but sitting on the floor is fun too.
Now, you also mentioned earlier about the Korean food. First one you mentioned is ojingo, and you said it's probably one of your top first or the second favorite Korean food. What's the other one?
The other one is definitely galbi. Yeah, galbi and Suwon is fantastic. And then if I was going to give you a third, it would be bibimbap. It's just simple. It's pretty healthy. Tastes good. You get to stir in that raw egg. Like, love bibimbap. I really like spicy food in general. So, like, kimchi, anything spicy, definitely goes well for me.
It's so wonderful to hear that his palate works well with the Korean foods, you know, the spicy foods.
Mhm.
And he was right on. Looks like his family in Korea, or he says his
Cousin.
cousin is married to a Korean, right?
Right.
So they probably showed him all the hot spots. Because if you go to Suwon, you have to have their galbi. It's really good there.
Uh-huh.
And so there are places where it's famous for certain things.
Right. And he said that, you know, I think this is what I get from a lot of foreigners or a lot of visitors. The way we eat in restaurants, it's not easy for me either. You know, the floor seating,
Mhm.
they are, maybe after about 5 minutes or so, my back starts hurting. So
Mhm.
I prefer the table seats
Mhm.
with, you know, the chairs.
Right.
But a lot of Korean restaurants, you'll see like these floor seating.
Oh no, I took you to dinner on Friday to floor seating.
That's why didn't you see me? I was like changing my like position.
I
Like
just thought you had to go to
every
the bathroom.
yeah, those you have to get used to.
Sure, because lots of people, and some people I noticed never get used to crossing their legs or sitting with everything bent, right?
Mm-hmm. And also another thing that really surprised him here is the Tobong Mountain or the hiking. Also, how you can just go to any mountains anywhere. Just to hop on the subway and then you can just get off at a subway station.
Right.
And voila, it's right in front of you.
Right. Korea, everywhere you look, we've got mountains. I almost feel like sometimes people in the big city forget that there's a mountain in every direction.
Exactly.
You can access it in 20 to 30 minutes any day. So you could go on your own backyard travel. After work, go for a nice hike for 30 minutes without going far away.
Absolutely.
Lots of the foreigners that come here actually appreciate that, like Stephen does. He says he's loved all the mountains he went to, such as Saraksan and Tobong. Actually, even Hwasong Fortress is kind of hilly. It's like in Suwon, you'll see it. It's not a mountain, but it's on a hill. It's a nice climb up, and climbing around it, it's a great trek.
Exactly. And, another thing that he mentioned is, he loves to travel, and especially here, he fell in love with Korea.
You can tell.
Exactly, because he's done so many things. He said, tip to any travelers or anyone who's planning on visiting Korea, don't come here with full on schedule. Like, take it easy, take it slow, because there are so many things to see and watch and
even along the way.
Exactly.
Right.
So just take a walk around and just relax, just look around,
because you'll see stuff everywhere that you'll want to check out instead of going straight to your next destination.
Right. He discovers so much.
No, he sounds like a seasoned traveler. He sounds like he definitely knows what he's talking about. He just didn't know the pronunciation of some of the names,
right.
But he definitely was at the right places doing the right things.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you to Stephen, and I hope you have a great last week in Korea. And Jennifer Lee, thank you for the cure or the mandarin oranges.
No problem.
Listener 9861 says, oh my God, I want some cure too. Share with me, please.
Well, I'll give you some. Just send me your name and number.
Uh-oh, you're asking for trouble with that one.
I am?
Yes, because everyone will.
Oh,
thank you, Jennifer.
Well, thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, let's quickly jump into our next music break with Troublemaker by Hyuna and Hyunsun.
And that's that.